In this lesson, we're going to continue our discussion on rational numbers and their operations. Okay, in this lesson, we're talking about dividing rational numbers. Before we actually get into the logistics of dividing, we have to learn about reciprocals. So a number and its reciprocal, if you multiply together to have a product of 1. And to find the reciprocal of a fraction, all you do is you flip the numerator and the denominator. All right, so if we have 3/4, the reciprocal is 4/3. And if you do that, you end up with 3 times 4 is 12, 4 times 3 is 12, 12 divided by 12 is 1. All right. If you have a negative 5/12, the reciprocal is negative 12/5. And a negative times a negative is a positive. 5 times 12 is 60. 12 times 5 is 60. 60 divided by 60 is 1. 6, remember 6 is a whole number, and that's 6 over 1. So the reciprocal of 6 over 1 is 1 over 6. And if you go 6 over 1 times 1 over 6, you end up with 6 over 6, which is 1. All right. Now, multiplication and division are inverse operations. In other words, they undo each other. All right. And so to divide a fraction, you just multiply by the reciprocal of the second number. All right. You always multiply by the reciprocal of the second number. All right. So if I have 1/7 divided by 4/5, we're going to say 1/7. We're going to say take the reciprocal of 4/5, which is 5/4, and we're going to multiply. All right. So when we do that, we end up with 1 times 5 is 5, and 7 times 4 is 28. All right. So let's do several examples. 5/11 divided by 1/2. Well, we're going to take the reciprocal of this, and we're going to change this to multiplication. Sometimes we call this keep change. We change the division to multiplication. Keep change flip, and then we flip the second one. A little saying that I've used already is this is Kentucky Chicken Fried. Okay, KCF, Kentucky Chicken Fried. Okay, so when we do that, we go 5/11 times, flip that 2 over 1. All right. When we do that, 5 times 2 is 10, 11 times 1 is 11, and 10 over 11 is in simplest form. 2 3/8 divided by 2. Well, this is a complicated one because we have a mixed number and a whole number. Remember, so you're going to do the big C here. Okay, we multiply the bottom, add the top. Okay, 2 times 8 is 16, plus 3 is 19 over 8. So we're going to keep this. We're going to change that division to a multiplication, Kentucky Chicken Fried, and we're going to flip the 2. Well, that's the same thing as 2 over 1, so that becomes 1 over 2. All right. 19 times 1 is 19. 8 times 2 is 16. This is an improper fraction because the top number is larger than the bottom number. So we're going to say 16 divides into 19 one time. 16 subtract, we end up with a remainder of 3, which we bring up, and we end up with 3/16, which is in simplest form. All right. Keep, change, flip, Kentucky Chicken Fried. So that turns us into 7 over 15 times change and flip. So that becomes 4/3. Okay. So we have 7 times 4 is 28. 15 times 3 is 45. And I think that's in simplest form, but we will check it. So we're going to say 28 divided by 45, math, enter, enter, and it is 28 over 45. So that is in simplest form. All right. 4 2/3 divided by 3. Once again, the big C. Multiply, add. 4 times 5 is 20, plus 2 is 22 over 5. Okay. And we change the division to multiplication. 3 over 1 becomes 1 over 3. We end up with 22 over 15. So now we're going to divide it out, simplify it. 15 goes into 22 one time. It's 15, subtract it. We end up with 7. Bring it up. And we end up with 7 over 15. Okay? Now, let's talk about dividing a decimal by a decimal. What you have to do, one of the hard and fast rules is that you have to have a whole number. You have to have a whole number on the bottom. All right, you cannot divide by a decimal. All right. So to put the whole number on the bottom, you just simply look at that bottom number and see how many decimal places it has. Okay. In this case, we have 1 decimal place. So that means that we are going to multiply it by 10. Okay. We're going to multiply it by 10. And you know that if we multiply by 10 or any power of 100 or any power of 10, all you do is you just multiply the decimal, you move the decimal point however many zeros there are. So in this case, we have 1 0 here. So that means we move that decimal point 1 time. We move this decimal point 1 time and turns it into 13.2. Okay. And then so that we have 13.2 divided by the whole number 4. Because we do the same thing on both the numerator and the denominator, it keeps it equivalent. All right, so let's do several examples like that. Okay, so we're dividing by 0.24. Okay, so this is 1, 2. We move our decimal point 2 times, so we move our decimal point 1, 2 times. So we have 24 divided into 38.4. Okay, 24 goes into 38 one time. Okay, subtracted. 8 minus 4 is 4. 3 minus 2 is 1. You bring that 4 down. Okay. 24 goes into 144. Okay, goes into 144, I think 6 times. So let's just multiply it out. Okay. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 2 is 12 plus 2 is 4. So yes, it goes in there 6 times, goes above that 4, 144. And we have all zeros at the bottom, so we stop. Now, here's the thing. We have to bring this decimal point. So here's why it's important to put the numbers above in the proper places. So we have to bring this decimal point up to the top and becomes 1.6. Once again, 2 numbers after the decimal point, 1, 2. Do the same thing here, 1, 2. So it's 25 goes into 58.5. 25 goes into 58 twice because 2 times 25 is 50. 8 minus 0 is 8. Bring down the 5. 25 goes into 85 3 times. Okay, 75. 0, 1. Okay, so now we don't have all zeros at the bottom, so we have to add a 0 because we don't have remainders in decimals. So we bring that 0 and we bring it down. 100, 25 goes into 100 4 times. And so when we do that, now we have all zeros. Okay, now we got to bring our decimal point up. So it's 2.34. Okay. 18 divided by 0.25. Well, this is a little bit different because we're dividing by a decimal, but we don't have a decimal. We have a whole number here. So we're going to move it 2 times here. So this 18 is the same thing as 18 point. So we're going to move it 2 times here and just add zeros as place value holders. So we have 25 goes into 1,800. All right. So 25 doesn't go into 18. 25 goes into 180. Well, let's see here. 175 would be the closest one, and that would be 4, 5, 6, 7. So that would be 7 times. Okay. And remember, 25 is easy to divide by because 25 is the same thing as a quarter. Okay. 4 quarters in $1. So we have $1.80 here, so to speak. And so we have 4 goes into 100 plus another 3 for the 75. Okay, so we subtract. So that's a 5. Okay, because we had to borrow. That's 7, and that becomes a 10. Okay, and then we bring that 0 down, and 25 goes into 50 2 times. Okay, and we have all zeros left over. Okay. Now, it says evaluate the expression for the given value of the variable. Evaluate just means solve it. Okay, plug it in and solve it. So it says 5.25 divided by n. Here's the important part. N is 0.15. So we can rewrite this as 5.25 divided by 0.15. Okay, 2 numbers on the bottom, 2 decimals on the top. So we have 15 on the outside, 525. All right, 15 times 3 is 45. 15 times 4 is 60. Okay, so we're going to go 15 times 3 is 45. Borrow from the 5 makes that a 4, makes that a 12. 12 minus 5 is 7. Bring down the 5. Okay, 15 goes into 75. Well, if 4 times 15 is 60, that means 5 times 15 is going to be 75. Okay, and we end up with 35. Evaluate the expression for the given value. Once again, we have 5 divided by 4/5. Okay, all right, 5 divided by 4/5. Well, this is Kentucky Chicken Fried. Okay, so that becomes 5 over 1, change, times reciprocal 5 over 4. When we do that, we end up with 25 over 4. Well, 4 goes into 25 6 times, because 6 times 4 is 24. Subtract it. We end up with a remainder 1, once again, because we're talking about fractions now. So we got 1/4. So 6 1/4. All right, last problem. U divided by 4/7 for U is 9. The same thing. So that's 9 divided by 4/7. Okay, Kentucky Chicken Fried. Okay, so we got 9 over 1 times change. Okay, and then flip 7 over 4. So 9 times 7 is 63. 1 times 4 is 4. We just divide it out now. 4 goes into 63. 4 goes into 6 one time. subtract that 2, bring down the 3, okay? 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 6 is 24. So it only goes in there 5 times. That's 20. We have a remainder of 3, and we bring it up. And we end up with 15 and 3/4. Okay, so that is it for this lesson. Make sure you ask me any questions if you have questions, and we'll talk to y'all later on.